Hello everyone, this is White Wolf, and I wanted to make this live about acknowledging your awareness and acknowledging the fact that you can tap into power whenever you want to, and also past, future, present is already happening simultaneously. And if you can learn how to tap into that simultaneously, you will always acknowledge what you need to do, what you need to implement, but also acknowledging the fact that your awareness itself, acknowledging the fact that your consciousness itself, and acknowledging the very fact that you can say what's on your mind, but also you can say what's on your heart and have it balanced out. So it's coming from your gut instinct and it's coming from a place of resonance. So don't be afraid to address things, but also for manifestation and for really tapping into an empowered, enlightened state of awareness, allow yourself to acknowledge who you are, what you want to accomplish, and acknowledge the very fact that you have the ability to change into that awareness, that you have the ability to acknowledge it, to be aware of it, and then you're able to get past it, but also you're able to integrate it and to empower it itself. So when you allow yourself to understand that by acknowledgement is recognizing it, having more cognizance about it, but also having an understanding about the realization of knowing yourself as a higher self, as a God aspect that you're fulfilling within this lifetime. And tapping into all the 12 aspects of ourselves, the monad, the I am presence, the brothers, sisters, daughters, and cousins that are on the same path as you that are becoming enlightened. So everybody's tapping into these aspects of God, and we're healing it and we're transcending it, and we're allowing ourselves to amplify the energies that are coming in so vastly. So acknowledgement is the first step to really transformation, but also healing and also release. But then you are adding something within your space, and you're actually being gifted another state of being, another state of awareness. And allow yourself to always acknowledge who you are and see past the delusions or the illusions. And it's teaching us how to be triggerless, how to use our emotions, but also to use our way of thinking, and also reciprocating the knowledge and being able to listen. So it's allowing us to have obedience, but it's also allowing us to have that sense of listening, reciprocation, and kind of locking in that knowledge. When we have acknowledgement, we're trying to lock in that knowledge so that we're able to have whatever we need inside of the container or the filter, and allowing ourselves to always have that peak self-realization and self-remembrance, and preserving ourselves and really elevating that energy and tapping into the sound waves of God, the vibrations of God, and allowing ourselves to use the higher self as a way of a vehicle, as an instrument of the divine, and being able to implement so many different things and experiment and play with our creation. Because meditation should be fun, right? So if you can acknowledge the fact that you can have fun right now, that you can have a great time right now, that you can really expand upon the present moment right here, right now, and understanding that it's all happening, that means that you have the ability to tap into that specific energy. If you want an energy of dedication, if you want an energy of love, if you want an energy of really knowing yourself even deeper, you can make that distinction and acknowledge that you have the ability and you have the power of choice to embrace your free will. That's really what acknowledgement is. It's embracing that you have free will, that you have choices, that you can really empower your decisions to transcend human conditioning. And when we're transcending the human condition, we're really allowing ourselves to be a different person every day. We're allowing ourselves to be a completely different human being that has this power, that has this alignment, in this vehicle, in this armor of God that allows itself to be powerful all the time. So it's like in the Bible, they say, like the helm of salvation, the breastplate of righteousness, the belt of truth, the sword of the Spirit, and the cloak of power, even though I've added some things there, but you get the point. It's the armor of God. It's having more awareness and discernment and alignment, and knowing that you're a force to be reckoned with, and that you have the power of the tornadoes and the wind gusts, and you have the ability to tell fate that I am the storm, that I am the warrior that's going to get past whatever I'm going past. No matter if it's the dark night of the soul, no matter if it's the worst time in your life, if there is just one thing going on in your life that's good, then that means all of the other things that are going wrong has no bearing over who you are as a spiritual entity of love and light. Okay? So that was my opening to this live. I hope you guys are doing well, and we're going to be doing some healing energy to accept our higher selves and tap into our spirit guides, and also tapping into the vibrations of source. So also you guys can book private sessions as well. This is White Wolf. You can contact me on TikTok and also Instagram whitewolf4741, and also Facebook and White Wolf the Oracle, and also YouTube White Wolf the Oracle. So I wanted to really dial down on this message of really understanding like what it means to acknowledge yourself, to address yourself, but also to address others, but also in times of meditation and intention and contemplation, that you can acknowledge your future self. You can acknowledge your higher self and be that. And you can allow yourself to have that energetic exchange every single day. Every time that we're meditating, every time that we're doing something or sharing something, there is an energy transfusion, but also an energetic exchange, and allowing ourselves to really tap into God and sing Kumbaya in a circle. No matter what you do, it doesn't matter because it's all of spirit. Now, it matters where you're channeling your energy and where your energy is coming from, but how you express yourself and authenticate that and address it is your empowerment and your expression and your truth and your alignment. So you're allowing yourself to pull from that source of creation. Acknowledgement is the gateway to true enlightenment because it allows you to acknowledge your flaws or your personality traits or certain patterns or not letting go of something. But also it allows you to acknowledge your strengths, and then your weaknesses become your strengths. And then when we are at our weakest, we're really at our strongest. I know that was a bit of a riddle there, but you get my point, is that when we think that we're insignificant, we're actually more insignificant than we think that we are. But that's the realm of thinking. Because if we're still coming from this mind, it's not coming from the heart, which is the first brain that pumps the blood and the cells and the organs that allows you to have life. So you can say stuff that is on your mind, but if you don't allow it to come from your heart, then it's not going to make any sense. And then you would develop these instincts that you kind of know, like, okay, I can acknowledge the very fact that I want this goal, that I want this said thing to happen. But how do I make it happen? Do I force it to happen? Do I ask questions? Do I seek? And the thing is to not force it, is to really allow it to unfold in front of you, but also seek your ass off to the point to where it's not toxic, but seek the creator inside of yourself, because you're acknowledging the very fact that you want to learn, you want to describe yourself, you also want to fall into the anointing. Allow yourself to not like fall into it like a bull in a china shop, but fall into the anointing, like just have a free fall and just kind of let go and just emit that frequency. If you allow yourself to do that, then your whole life will start to change, because you're letting go of worry, you're letting go of like what people think of you, and you're coming into a state of being triggerless and learning how to use your emotions for good, but also using your essence, your soul, as a way of sharing and an outlet for others so that they can have a sense of community. So we're balancing out not only our prosperity, our psychology, and also the physical side and the non-physical side. So there's 4 or 5 different sides to spirituality. There's probably more, and some of you are like, there's probably more than that. But all the sides of spirituality, we can narrow it down by what is truthful and what is energy and what is channeling that. And what does that look like, and how does it have representation and have depth, so that there is a gray area and that there isn't a way of looking at it from a black and white standpoint, because that's very vague and that's not very intricate and it's not very descriptive, right? It doesn't allow you to have something to go on. But when you allow yourself to have something to go on, you have a sense of direction. You have a sense of a pull. You have a gravitational pull, but also you're accepting the calling on your life because you're pulling in the destiny towards yourself. You have the keys to the castle. It's just having the accountability, the responsibility, and the maturity to have it. You have the keys to the castle. You have the keys to the Ferrari, but you have to learn how to drive the Ferrari, because the Ferrari has a little bit of a pull, right? Or like a Mustang. Those cars, like when you hit the gas, they have a certain pull to them, right? And if you're not really particularly ready to drive that Mustang or Ferrari, then there's going to be some fear or some anxiety, or maybe you're just like, oh, I can't handle it. But that means that actually you're kind of getting to the point where you are ready for it. When you feel like you're not ready for something, that's almost like the correct time to kind of just jump into it and just kind of adapt and just kind of work your magic. And just like work your magic, adapt, learn how to play within that environment, learn how to just follow through. And if you just follow through, you'll pick up the pieces and you'll connect the dots. But if we don't try, we'll never know. And sometimes people quit because they haven't tried another routine or another angle or another situation and circumstance or another state of being. And most people quit before they make it. And then that's when they give up. But giving up on yourself, if you can look at it as giving up on the divine, like giving up on God. So don't give up on yourself because you're giving up on God, because God is you. And you are because I am, and I am because you are. Do you see what I mean? So it gives you a sense of dedication because you're like, Source would never quit on itself. Source would never sell itself short. Source would never allow this to happen. So if I am that power, and if I am that alignment, if I am that Source being channeled through me as the experimentation of enlightenment, then that means that I can always try from a different standpoint. You can always try something new. There's always something new to embark on. There's always something new to tap into. You can always try from another vantage point because everything is happening simultaneously. And it's practicing how we're going to experience, but also how we're going to react to it. So it's always kind of a test on you. But you embrace the test and you embrace even maybe the challenges, which aren't really challenges anymore when you become more adept and things of that nature. You don't see them that way. You see them as lessons for your growth. You see them as ways of growing and expanding and changing within yourself. And then you allow yourself to kind of strengthen the core belief of I am God because I'm creating my reality, but I am God because I am generating this healing within myself, but I'm also not God Almighty because God's source energy is still his own energy, but God wants you to know to become your own energy. So that's the baseline of this live is like acknowledge your awareness, acknowledge that you are energy, and acknowledge that you're an extension of the Oracle of Love Line Wisdom. So we all have spirit guides, we all have divine assistants, we all have ways of looking at different topics. But if we narrow it down, we can see that if we just allow the light to shine within us right now, to reprogram our DNA, to reprogram how we think or how we emote or how we act or our relationship with money, or even trying new things or being kind of stuck in your own energetic field, and kind of treat it as if you're going like into the cold water or you're going on a roller coaster or even jumping out of a plane or climbing on a rock without any protection, because you have to then focus because you've already pushed yourself past the precipice, because if you're on the rock and you kind of freak out, you're most likely going to fall. But if you had complete faith in yourself in order to do that, then you would just follow through. And now I'm not saying that I recommend everybody do that, but I'm saying that if we treated the simple topics that we talk about, rather it's twin flames, rather it's being emotionally intelligent, rather it's reflecting and being that mirroring effect of consciousness, if we can narrow it down and make it be known that the autonomous knowledge is really just acknowledgement. Acknowledge what you are, acknowledge who you are, and acknowledge the very fact that you're energy and you're not an emotional guidance system. The emotional guidance system is just reflecting to you. And also the intense energies that come in, it's because your chakras are getting bigger. It's because you're growing. It's because you're expanding. It's because that's why you feel drained or tired. It's because you're building the momentum and building more of a strong foundation within yourself. You're elevating the energy. But being adventurous and being spontaneous and having excitement with doing simple things. I'm not saying that you have to have like a Tom Cruise kind of life because I don't think that's for everybody. But if taking out the trash And you can acknowledge that as an enlightening experience because you're taking out the old and implementing the new, because you're not going to leave the trash there and let it overflow, because that's just not the way that we do things in conventional reality. But it's blending the non-physical aspect and the psychological aspect with everything that we look at. So literally taking out the trash can be a very profound sense of communication with Source, that direct communication with Source. It could be very profound for you that taking out the trash could be your service, or being a good mom, or being a good wife, and like cooking dinner and things of that nature. So it's looking at everything with the sense and understanding that everything has a spiritual origination. So every time that we get triggered, every time that we get angry, every time that we're releasing energy, or every time that we receive energetic downloads, that's just us coming closer to acknowledging the God inside of ourselves. That's just becoming more closer and having that direct relationship and receiving the river of Source within ourselves. And then you discover that inseparability, and you receive the ultimate truth of how to really communicate and receive and to listen to the direction of Source. So it's like this person, do you have a spiritual goal for yourself that you're working towards after this stage? Yeah, I would love a podcast. I would love to have many different things, retreats and, more clients and things of that nature. I would just, want to live comfortably and also just be able to give back in a big way. That's kind of my goal in life. So it's not really the understanding of really the realization of acknowledge it, be aware of it, understand it, reciprocate it, and lock it in. If that can be your affirmation in the morning to allow yourself to know, I know this, I acknowledge it, I understand it, I reciprocate it, I lock it in. So I don't allow myself to forget it. You will forget it, but it'll kind of come back to you as an energetic download, and that pulse that will source through you to allow yourself to know, like, okay, I got it, get it, good, and let's get out the door, and let's go for more stuff. Let's elevate the energy more. Let's tap into the prosperity more, but also allow ourselves to realize that the reception and the acknowledgement and the elevation and the development within yourself will always push you through the next stage. And that you won't want to linger in a certain consciousness, in a certain state, in a certain emotional state. You don't want to linger there, because you know that the more that you change and the more that you grow and the more that you share and that you give will ultimately be the most blessing. So the more that you give and the more that you just try to find that energy back within yourself, when you just come back to yourself, because I felt like a little bit tired this morning, and then I went for a swim, and then I took an Epsom salt bath, and I felt rejuvenated, I felt replenished, I felt more alive within the direct experience. So it's just finding that way to call back your energy. So acknowledgement is calling back your energy. It's saying, I call back my energy to myself. I call back my love within myself. And sometimes we can forget because we have so many things going on in our lives. And it's okay to forget because we're meant to forget. But to have that realization and just to remember, and it dawns on you and you're like, oh, I remembered who I forgot I was. I forgot who I was, but then I remembered that person, and then I came back into balance. But sometimes we need integration, and we need to kind of like watch TV or eat food, because then if we're acting like God's source energy in that heightened state of a higher density of energy, then there's no sense of grounding, there's no sense of understanding, and there's no sense of really bringing forth conventional reality and non-physical reality together. So we can act like we're always that energy all the time, but there needs to be a human aspect and a non-physical aspect, because then it has to be from a grounded level of truth and a grounded understanding to where you know that needs to be implemented, because you don't want to lose yourself and you don't want to go over everybody's head, but you kind of want to be a bit Switzerland with everybody. Because if you're too rigid, if you're too this and you're too that, then it's not allowing you to be truthful and non-biased. So having acceptance beyond your own personal biases, and having acceptance past the point where there is complete acknowledgement. When there's complete acknowledgement over how you feel now, because it's giving you a sense of creating that always and being present with that. And then you keep going and going. And there's progression instead of regression or resistance or falling back into the same way that you were. But if you can acknowledge the very fact that you have a sense of progression and that you can enjoy the ride while it's here, and open up more to that, and acknowledge that you're not going to be perfect, acknowledge that you will get triggered, you will react, but how do you get back to that state of God? How do you get back to that state of awareness? How can you be aware of your awareness so much that it shines in everything that you do? It represents everything that you are, and allows you to be the energy fully exemplified in that state of consciousness always. The lights are on and there is somebody home, instead of the lights kind of being on but then there's no one home. That means that that's possession. You don't want to feel like you have to possess something to be powerful, because it's not all of these possessions. It's not money. It's not happiness itself, because that's still a concept and that's still an explanation. That's still an explanation. It's not feeling love, it's receiving the love. Acknowledging the fact that you're the reception of that love. It's not the love that you're receiving from another person, but it's really just receiving that love always. And then actualizing it and being that example of that unconditional love and that acknowledgement of God's source energy, and allowing yourself to come to the truth of it. And when you allow yourself to do that, then you allow yourself to be transparent with your energy. And if you're always transparent with your energy, then that means that you're always going to be the most honorable in the bunch, because you're not focusing on, like, if someone does tarot, you're not going to say that that is not God, because you go with your truth. And if that's not of your truth, that means that you're not judging or condemning them. It's because maybe I like vanilla ice cream, but maybe you like chocolate ice cream. And then that's kind of how you can break it down in a grounded form, so that you're not coming from a sense of bias, but you're seeing what everybody wants universally. You're seeing what everybody wants universally. That's universal love. That's universal understanding. That's being that universal receptor. And that is the truth that surpasses all understanding. It's not bias, because it's coming from a place of love, because you want what everybody wants within the configuration of their energy, and that's how you're transparent with them. And it's not about you. It's not about how you feel about that certain social issue and things of that nature. It's not about how you feel about this. So yeah, we're just like the little sprinkles in ice cream. We're the little particle accelerators being sprinkled onto that big sundae. And then make your sundae how you make your sundae. Meditate the way you want to meditate. Tap into source the way you tap into source, not the way that I tell you to. And that's what I try to do with these lives, is to give people the permission slip to just be themselves. Smile when you want to smile. Love when you want to love. And be God when you want to be God at that moment, when it seems to make sense. Now, I'm not saying that we have to be on point all the time, but that's the beauty of it. We have a second life. We have redemption. We have love within ourselves. We have everything at our disposal to meditate, to learn, and to progress. What could be better than that, right? Then it gives you a sense of discernment. All paths lead to God, and everybody is God right now. Everybody who's watching this right now is God in their own form, because Jesus was God, but Jesus was God manifested in the human form. So what I'm reflecting to you and what my soliloquy is for you, why wait to experience it? Why don't you just experience it right the fuck now? Just experience it right the fuck now. And then the rest is history. Just do you. Just do you. And then at the end of the day, then that's what makes you transparent. Is to allow everybody to receive in the way that they need to receive. But that's the gateway to enlightenment, is true acknowledgement. So we're going to be doing healing energy. If you guys want to book private sessions with me, this is White Wolf for psychic readings, healings, activation codes, downloads. So book private sessions with me. Contact me on TikTok. I have my email on there. YouTube, White Wolf the Oracle. Instagram, White Wolf 4741. And Jacob Wolf on Facebook, but please refer to me as White Wolf. But we're going to be doing some healing energy. So if you're coming onto this feed, you can receive some healing energy, and we're going to be calling in some of my guides, and we're also going to be doing an activation for the higher self, and also just the vibration of God from the source dragons. So, okay, everybody take a deep breath and receive this healing energy within yourself. Be as powerful as a wind gust, a tornado, and just be like the wind. Allow yourself to be like water, be like fluidity, and receive from the river of source, archangels of love and light who's willing to cleanse me of my auric field, tapping into God's source energy and the great I am, diving deep into Middle Mother Gaia Earth, north, east, south, and west, ground. Archangel Michael, Gabriel, Sandalphon, Raphael, Mother Mary, the Intergalactic Council, Grandmother and the Tribal Women, Ashgar Command, the Arcturians, the Pleiadians are here as well. And we're also going to call upon the source dragons to give us the vibrations of God, the sound waves of God, and the essence of God's source energy, and the energies of the 12th dimension. Allow yourself to be your own extension of energy, to see yourself as energy, to see everything in your life as God's source energy, being fully realized as the human individuation of the prophet, the oracle of love, light, and wisdom. Jesus is going to activate all of your chakras right now. Mother Mary has a divine energy coming in, the divine feminine. The Alpha Dragon is here as well, helping us with our masculine energies. And right now, we're going to walk into our higher selves. So at this moment, just say, I accept my higher self's wisdom, and I accept the higher self in my being fully. This is where we become the light body, but this is where we become that energetic exchange in the energy transfusion and the transfiguration of the soul. Where our light and dark aspects come together, which generates oneness. Allow yourself to be a mirror of consciousness. Reflect that in your existence. Allow yourself to be bold enough, to be powerful enough to know that you are the power that was generated before it knew itself. We're going to tap into the Kundalini energy, the energy of release, and the energy of rejuvenation. We're going to implement psychic protection as well. The Black Panther is also helping us out, clearing energy, releasing toxins, new DNA, and also helping us with our emotions and to be triggerless and to be able to have control over our consciousness. And we're also going to have the Sasquatch come in to activate our third eye. So there is a neon green light coming from a white Sasquatch. And he's helping you with your master intuitive abilities, your psychic insight, but also he's helping you with channeling your higher selves and also channeling energy as well, and being able to deliver truth. The goddess Kuan Yin is here to help reset the karmic balance as well. And the Apostle Paul is pouring out a beautiful orange and yellow energy and helping us with our healing abilities, our empathic abilities, and also a way to make our healing energies and our meditations much more powerful. Also, downloading prophetic visions, energetic downloads, and light codes are being sent out as well. And just focus your intention on acknowledging your fullest vibrational alignment. You can say things from your mind, but try to say things from your heart. Balance with it. It'll make it more authentic. It'll make it more exuberant of energy and truth and resonance, and just being honest about how you channel yourself, of how you handle yourself, but being more proactive with situations. Allow yourself to be more open with this healing energy, to be more spacious, to be more alive, and to just have an inner knowing about yourself, and to know what to choose life instead of death, to choose truth instead of lies. And to choose purification over a state of toxicity or lack. Development instead of regression. Progression instead of being stagnant. Make that distinction. Acknowledge who you are. And then just let it go. And just be that which you want to become. And that will offer a gateway of enlightenment for yourself. To acknowledge who you are at this minute and owning it and just acting on it and never looking back. Everybody take one last deep breath. And just allow yourself to become an individuation of creation, which is the Oracle of Loveline Wisdom, which is God's source energy manifested in the human form. And so it is. And that was my healing energy for all of you. So I hope you enjoyed that. It seemed very powerful. It seemed very potent. Also, guys, just know that you can book private sessions with me. You can contact me on TikTok. I have my email there and my payment links and stuff like that. And you can also contact me on Facebook, Jacob Wolf. Please refer to me as White Wolf. Cashapp, whitewolftheoracle, and paypal.me// Jacob Dylan Wolf. I'm still coming off of the healing. And also you can contact me on Instagram, whitewolf4741, Facebook, Jacob Wolf. Please refer to me as White Wolf, and also YouTube, White Wolf the Oracle, and things of that nature. So I want to thank you guys so much for this live, and honestly, just understanding that we are growing and that we're changing and that we're shifting, and that everybody is finding out how to really manifest the life of their dreams, and also figuring out what works for them, figuring out if they have like significance, or they have empowerment or motivation or releasing or healing. It doesn't matter what it is, but use it to the best of your abilities. Just use it in the way that you can bless others. Use it in a way that is opening a gateway for people, and also just community and love and respect for one another, and seeing each other as that individuation of creation. That allows it to be pure, and that allows it to be exemplified in the way that it needs to be. But yeah, I want to thank you guys so much. God bless. Book private sessions, and I hope that healing energy allowed you to tap into a lot of my guides, but also tapping into the higher self, and also just the vibrations of source from the source dragons. They came in very strongly. And just know that we're all special and unique, and we're all trying to find our purposeful purpose in this life. That's what we're trying to figure out. It takes time, but with hard work, dedication, grind, and also allowance. And when I say hustle and grind, I don't mean like the way that most human beings like talk about that. I mean like allowance, reception, existential ecstasy, and just resonating within that. So thank you guys. God bless. Namaste. You guys have a wonderful evening, morning, day, or night. This is White Wolf signing off, and so it is. Book private sessions, and God bless.